folks. So we wanted to use this week to talk about a topic that I get, or a question that I get from a lot of clients that I work with, and also something that affects every aspect of your performance. And it's, why can't you get a flat stomach? Okay, and so you might think flat stomach is something that you maybe might make you look good in a dress or a suit or a piece of clothing on stage. But beyond that, what it also indicates is your overall metabolic health. Okay, because 70 to 80% of the immune system is located in the gut, chronic low-grade inflammation can shut down your abdominals, can affect the way your diaphragm performs, and can really affect every aspect of the way that you sing, but also, obviously physical appearance as well. So really, when we talk about getting a flat stomach, what we're talking about is getting healthy. So in today's presentation, or today's video, what I'm going to talk about are the factors behind why that happens, and some simple dietary as well as fitness solutions that we could do to really start to affect this. Okay, so some factors behind this that we're going to talk about in this video are the insulin cortisol seesaw, okay, chronic low-grade inflammation of the stomach and the gut, and metabolic resistance. Okay, and then we're going to follow this with a short video where we talk about just some simple exercise that you could do to tackle some of these biomechanical things as well. So why does this happen? Okay, after you eat a certain food, or after maybe you have a glass of wine, this is actually a client of mine who went out for dinner and, had some wine and, I think had some like cheese and rice and ended up looking this way, and the next day, it went down a little bit, but she told me it took her like 5 or 6 days in order for her to really get her stomach down. And that's without almost eating anything. And it's because in her case, she had a gluten intolerance and she had some other low-grade food allergies. But the point is that this is something that if we keep tripping this wire where we eat things that we're constantly sort of like pin pricking the thing that's causing this, massive amount of inflammation that was created by these things, then we're never really giving our body the ability to heal or the ability to regenerate. And so, all of these things can influence the gut. Okay, and this is really important because 80% of our immune system is in the gut. So, we have all of these things that, we could talk about, but today we're going to talk mainly about nutrition, okay? And this is, but also, stress. So when we talk about stress, when we get stressed out, okay, our body is going to release cortisol into our bloodstream. Okay, that's going to raise our blood sugar, and it's going to start to dump glucose, which is stored energy, into our bloodstream to fuel what the body perceives to be a task that we're having to run from, or something, like hard exercise. Then our body is going to dump insulin. It's going to raise insulin levels to bring our blood sugar back down and cause our body to store stuff again. And the problem is that when we are, when we're constantly raising these levels up and down because, we get stressed out over maybe you missed an audition, or you're going to fight with your spouse or whatever, that's going to raise your cortisol level. The body doesn't know the difference between running from a lion and, just being stressed out generally. And so then our body's going to have to lower inflammation again. And this seesaw is eventually going to cause our body to become what is called insulin resistant. So no longer do we send glucose back to our muscle cells. The only place it gets stored is fat. Okay, and you can kind of see it also leads to hyper or hypoglycemia. Here are some of the symptoms. And really the other thing that happens is, our gut never gets a chance to really heal. We're constantly tweaking things with food allergies. And so 2 solutions that are really, really helpful are fasting. Okay, fasting, whether it be intermittent fasting or just picking a day of fasting, where even if you don't eat for, a couple extra extended hours, is going to allow for what is called gastric emptying, and is going to allow the gut to, release, or the gut to, get some degree of healing going on. The other really beneficial thing is an anti-inflammation diet or an elimination diet. And this is just eliminating foods, all potential foods that could create chronic inflammation, and then slowly reintroducing these. And I introduce this stuff because these are resources that I recommend you check out, look these up. We're going to go on to our biochemical factors, but this is a really important part. All right, so now from a biomechanical perspective, first thing we want to do is get our rectus to chill out, open up the chest wall a little bit. So I'm just going to show you guys a couple of sorted moves to do this. Any type of chest stretching motion really will do that. The key thing is that we either open our chest laterally or we go overhead. Those two motions will tend to inhibit the rectus abdominis and let us open the chest wall. So one of my, whether we're training fitness or we're training just kind of breathing, we'll show you a couple things. One of my favorite activities that is, a great exercise for either to incorporate the lower body would just be a hip shift with a chest stretch. So what I like to do here is just straighten my arms out, bring my right foot back, press my back into the ground, just get a little bit of a tuck going on and just extend my arms out actively. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Do about 5 breaths and switch sides. It's a great warm-up move. Another one that I like a lot would be just like a side lying, I call it an open book. Okay, I'm lying on my side, holding down my lower body, just letting my arm drop down. I'm gonna exhale as I open my hand up to the side, sort of look in that direction, making sure that I move my arm first. I can take a couple breaths in this position. As I exhale, continue to just, with each exhale, just kind of drop my arm down a little bit, look a little bit in this direction. I can just reinforce it with just a couple rotations. Exhale on the way down, inhale. Exhale on the way back up. Great way to restore some head turn as well as kind of open the chest. Then if we're talking fitness, also stuff overhead. Another one that I like a lot would be to get my upper back on like a pillow or something like this. This is going to help to actually, if I have a forward head posture, it's actually going to help to kind of drop my head down and flex my upper back. I can get a dumbbell overhead, kind of bridge up, take a deep breath in, and then just exhale. We'll do a tricep extension. It's a great one. Another one would be just overhead activities like this, where my arms are overhead, breathing in with something like a leg extension. Any kind of dead boogie activity where my arms are overhead. I'm using a dumbbell to kind of hold me overhead like this. I can also press my hands into a wall. It's going to help to kind of pull my sternum up, kind of relax these muscles or cause them to lengthen a little bit, cause this area to open up. So any kind of lower body ab exercise would work. We can do like a scissor kick here. We can do an alternating thing here. Just be sure to breathe in. Get that deep breath because that's going to give us that chest wall expansion. And use your abs to keep your abs on as you go side to side and extend. That's going to make sure that we don't belly breathe, which is also really good for this. Give it a go. All right, so just as a small addition, our kind of third biomechanical thing is getting our abs stronger in a lengthened position. So one of the things that we do when we belly breathe is that or when we have sort of a situation where overusing our rectus abdominis and we're getting this sort of pooch belly, is that we don't have very strong abdominals. So if we're assuming that your diet is good, assuming that we've eliminated a lot of the inflammation that we have in our gut, the next thing that we want to do is teach our abdominals to eccentrically create a little bit more eccentric tension, meaning when we breathe in, this just doesn't expand as easily. So when we create tension here, we put a little bit more air back up here and everywhere else, which is what we want. So we can do that by just performing activities where I'm trying to keep my back in the ground and lengthen my abdominals while inhaling and keeping tension. So normally, as I would go out, I create a lot of tension. I would inhale and then come back and kind of crunch everything together. But here, I would emphasize the lengthened position. So I'm going to exhale as I go out. And just spend a couple breaths here in this lengthened position. Breathe in and exhale. Just working on keeping the back in the ground. And you'll notice how much I'm shaking as I do this because it's super hard. And normally our bodies are not used to doing that. So the more tension we can create there, the better. The more it'll kind of carry over to the way that we breathe and kind of just feed into kind of using that tension to help to restrain
this area some. The other thing that we could do is something like a plank where we lengthen our body, we exhale and inhale in this really lengthened position. I can make sure that I'm keeping my pelvis a little bit tucked. I'm taking my elbows back slightly to create tension. But again, just knocking out maybe 15, 20 seconds of breathing in that position several times a day really helps to reinforce the tension that we want to maintain in order to create that abdominal tension to keep our abdominals from excessively lengthening when we breathe. So give that a go.